his own people. Another cause you're very passionate about is, and I'm going to mispronounce her name, Miss Hassan Ali. Is that
yes?
Right. I guess what I'm asking is those crimes that were perpetrated by Saddam Hussein and towards Miss Ali. Couldn't it be argued that Saddam had, through evolutionary means, gotten to a position of power where he was stronger, and it is up to him to survive? I guess what I'm saying is you often refer to moral arguments for the Iraq War. Couldn't it be argued that if survival of the fittest holds true, that there really wasn't a moral argument for the Iraq War? We could maybe take him out because we're a stronger entity, U.S., but I guess this is basically, I guess, what we've been talking about the last 20 minutes or so. But you could.
Well, if I have understood you correctly, what you're really asking me is, would I think it made sense to describe the Saddam Hussein regime as evil? Yeah, well, I wrote a long essay, and it's in a little book of mine called The Long Short War, a Postponed Liberation of Iraq, about that very question. How would one derive such a term as evil? I personally believe I've witnessed the operations of radical evil in the world, in fact, in northern Iraq. It's something to do with the smell that's given off by genocide, but also by torture. In other words, by being crueler than you need to be to stay in power, by being cruel for its own sake. The sort of surplus value of dictatorship and torture and genocide. The exorbitant bit. The evil part. The part that isn't necessary for the job to be done. It's purely a celebration of horror for its own sake. That's the nearest, that surplus value element to it is the nearest I've been able to get. And I can promise you that if you were a person of ordinary morality, as we all are, you would know it too when you saw it. By what standard? I'm about to be asked. You would know that too. You'd know what standard you were using when you had that reaction. Believe me. Did we only take out Saddam Hussein because we could? No. Because there is no regime we couldn't take out if we wanted to. And there are many regimes we wish we could. In Burma, for example, or Zimbabwe, a Buddhist dictatorship in Burma, Catholic dictatorship in Zimbabwe, never mind, just teasing. But we don't, because there are actually certain norms of secular international law that have to be breached. At least one of four have to be breached before a state can be said to have sacrificed its sovereignty and laid itself open to intervention.
We're not going to get deep into the questions of the Iraq War today, but certainly the question of evil is relevant.
One of the things that I would say quickly in response to it is this. I agree with Christopher that we would react in similar ways, if not identical ways, to many things that manifest themselves around the globe. When I've read Christopher, I really appreciated, for example, his review of Pat Buchanan's book in Newsweek some months ago. And what I appreciated was he wasn't just blowing smoke in the general direction of these international situations. He knew something about them. And when he assesses this being done by this group to that group has the stench of death about it, it's evil and it's wrong. I'm not arguing that. We agree. The stench of genocide, the stench of torture, those sorts of things, that's a bad business. Here's the problem. Suppose Christopher, in one of his journalistic jaunts, goes to interview a dictator on his deathbed. All right? The dictator has got a vast trail of injustice behind him, and if Christopher is right, no justice in front of him. Right? He's lived to be 85 years old, he's going to die, and he's going to go into oblivion just like every other bit of protoplasm. Right? Identical. And this dictator, who did all these things that Christopher rightly disapproves of, chuckles to himself and says, you know, like Frank Sinatra, I did it my way, and got away with it too. You know, I kept myself in power. The U.S. never came and took me out. I lived to a ripe old age. I got away with it. And laughs quietly to himself. Now, what can Christopher say to him that would refute him, that would answer him? Now, he did get away with it. There's vast injustice behind him and no justice in front of him. And how do you how do you maintain your own sense of personal indignation at these evils when you believe that that's the way the universe is? Christopher thinks that the universe doesn't care about this stuff. Genocide is just like so much foam on the sea. That's all it is. John Lennon said, imagine, above Auschwitz, only sky. Imagine there's no heaven above us, no hell below. Above Buchenwald, only sky. Above every horror that Christopher has ever written about, only sky.
Yes, that's sad but true. The universe doesn't care, doesn't know, as a matter of fact, this is going on. The heavens don't notice it.
The universe doesn't care.
They're not even indifferent.
And if the universe doesn't care, why do you?
They're not even indifferent. They're unaware. I can't make them be aware.
But why
I
do you
might,
care?
like you, wish that they were aware and that God would punish or prevent these things, but he doesn't. And I can't make myself believe something because it might be nice to believe it. Big difference between us. By the Jose Antonio Primo de Rivera, founder of the Spanish Falange fascist party, very active chap in his life, was asked on by the priests who, of course, always surround dictators on their deathbeds, holding up crosses and offering them absolution, and saying everything you've ever done will be forgiven if you will just now say that you accept Jesus as your personal savior. How about that for an immoral action, by the way? Jose Antonio Primo de Rivera was asked to forgive all his enemies, and he said, as he was slipping away, he said, I have no enemies. I killed them all.
So
That's why I'm in favor of getting rid of Saddam Hussein when he's in his prime. That's the short answer to your question.
So do you wish that Christianity were true?
No, I don't. I don't think that the problems and miseries and strugglings and sufferings of humanity can be resolved by referring them to a supernatural, totalitarian, unanswerable, unchallengeable authority. I don't think there's a totalitarian solution to our many, many woes and sufferings. I just don't. And I'm glad that there's no reason to think that there is such a solution available.
And I cannot see.
And I do not think that the stars move in their courses and can be moved to pity by the sufferings of my fellow creatures. They don't know. They don't know we're here. Evolution doesn't know we're here.
And I cannot.
And it won't notice when we've gone.
And I cannot see why, if ultimate reality does not and cannot know or care, why any subset of reality should know or care.
Well, one of the tortures that's inflicted on us by existence is that we are, most of us, condemned to care. We do feel the sufferings of others.
That's just a
as
chemical.
well as our own.
That's a chemical reaction.
It's
that's
terrible.
all it is a chemical reaction.
It still hurts.
Hurts you.
It hurts.
But
Then-
why should we care about?
But then insult is added to injury. You're told that these sufferings are sent by God, that they can be ennobling to us.
Now you
that
stay
they
out
can-
of-
that
stay
they're
off-
sent, that they're sent as a test.